Yeah, welcome to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. The best part about tonight's game is the fact that the Glebe Central Pub is still a place to be happy or drown your sorrows. Call it what you want, but the Glebe Central Pub will be there for you. Win, lose, or draw. 779 Bank Street. Go check them out. Great food, great people, and a great atmosphere that would never let you down. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller, and the Ottawa Senators completely imploded. We've said that before, but I really mean it this time. They're up 2-0, and then they allow 7 unanswered goals to the New York Rangers. Pilsy, this one deteriorated into a debacle.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ross, you know it's going to be a vent cast when our first pre-show discussions are, was this the worst loss of the season? And Sens fans, let us know in the chat if you agree, but this just might be the worst loss. This is worse than the Colorado game, worse than the Florida game, worse than the Vancouver game, because this one, it really seemed like the Sens came out of the gate flying. They get out to a 2-0 lead, both good goals. Brady gets it going. They score a goal in the power play. You're thinking, okay, they're jumping on a tired team that's on the second half of a back-to-back. Unfortunately, this is not the team that we've seen in the last kind of 5 games where they've really put a full 60-minute effort together. This was a team that put 20 minutes in, maybe 25. They get a little extra, the goal in the second period. And then after that, this team was back to its cursed second periods where they just get destroyed by the New York Rangers. The Rangers score 5 goals, 5 unanswered goals in the second period. And this game,
4 goals on 4 shots against Jonas Korpisalo to start the second period. And we are really our title as a goalie friendly show might be on the ropes tonight, because this was a Jonas Korpisalo loss in my opinion. And I'm gonna do something I don't always do, Pilsy. I'm pulling up my notepad.
Just notes.
Okay. These are my last notes of the period. Korpisalo has been unreal. Korpisalo's best period of the season.
What?
The first period, he was awesome.
He was good. He was good. I just can't believe you were that emphatic about it, and then the way it turned out after.
By the end of the second period, I actually still have it up right now on a different tab. I have his buyout calculations, and it's not that bad. But it's unreal. Now 7 unanswered. Yeah, they get the garbage goal after the empty netter. So a little bit of
hurts extra.
Insult to injury. But the Kreider goal is where I just shrugged. And it's like, he'll make these saves where you're like, whoa, how'd you do that? And then at least once, if not twice a game, he lets in a goal that you and I could literally stop. And we can't make a lot of saves at the NHL level, but you and I think if you put us in there on that Kreider goal, we probably stop that 8 or 9 out of 10 times. And we're not making $4 million in the National League.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, Ross and I have stopped 0 NHL shots, but we've also haven't faced any NHL shots. So the book is still out on our save percentage there. But yeah, you said it, Ross. And I think you say it. I agree. The Sens chat, they certainly know. Korpisalo pretty much, unfortunately, is guaranteed to let in 1 clean shot a game. You kind of have to add it to the equation. Like, it's almost like you got to go to FanDuel, and no matter what, you got to handicap the Sens at they're already at -1, because you know you're going to get one of those that just beats them clean. There's really no excuse for it. And you mentioned to me earlier that it was on a bit of an edge, so it was a bit of a weird shot. But like, if you have clear sight lines of that, that's where we see Korpisalo as one of those goalies that he relies on his athleticism and his reflexes, and he can make really big saves, and it looks awesome, and you start to believe in the guy. But the issue is he doesn't have enough times where the puck just hits him. He's just in a good position. He's got the angle, and that's one of those where, similar to, I think it was the other night, where he's so far out of his net, there's no excuse not to stop that shot. No screen, no deflection. As an NHL goalie, especially a guy that's being relied upon as not the top guy in a tandem, but Forsberg is out now. He's being relied upon heavily as the guy. You can't have those goals go in on you every single game you start.
And that's a conversation we're going to get to. This is the calculation here, 45.16%. That's the percentage of games Korpisalo allows 4 or more goals against this season. Almost half of his games,
Too many.
he's let 4 or more goals. People calling him Korpisalo in the comments. And I mean, it's harsh, but at the same time, like, that's the 14th time in 31 games this year that Korpisalo has allowed 4 or more goals. Completely deflating. And we can get into how these goals went in, but let's make ourselves feel better first, because I want to get the positivity out of the way here. And there was a milestone night for Claude Giroux, 700th assist.
Yeah.
That was a phenomenal assist too, hounding the puck off of Keandre Miller and then kind of angling his body so that there's no way for Miller to get back into position. Then he found Brady Tkachuk, comes in, and now Brady's got 20 goals on the year, his 5th 20-goal season at the National Hockey League level every single year, I believe, right? Maybe the COVID year, did he only have 19? But I know
I think the COVID year he fell short.
that was his only one, so still on pace for more. But yeah, that was his only one, and he finished with 17 that year. But every other year in the National League, he's had at least 20, and if he gets 10 more, which he should, then he'll be a 3-time 30-goal scorer in back-to-back-to-back years. But that was great. Brady scoring on bobblehead night.
It was a nice move. And Ross, the thing I noticed on that goal is earlier on in the game, Giroux had a nice pass to Brady, and Brady had the space where normally you just see Brady Tkachuk rip that on net, right? Like, he's one of the leaders in shots on goal in the NHL year after year. But this time he tried to hold on to it, and he tried to go backhand, but he loses it. But now on the first goal that he gets, he actually is able to hold on to that backhand, and he goes 5-hole on quick. So you could tell maybe that was one of those check the game notes moves where Brady knew if he could get a backhand 5-hole on quick, he'd have success. So he tries it the first time, doesn't work, keeps at it, and gets it again, and he puts home the first goal. And that was a nice one for Brady Tkachuk.
It certainly was. And then the next shift, the Rangers had a good shot, and I wrote in my notes there, I said, look, Korpisalo lets that in 2 weeks ago, that momentum crushing goal where you're up, but he makes the save. It looks good. And then we got that Kastelik Goodrow fight, good win for Kastelik there. And then this was an insane sequence where the top line, it's buzzing again. Giroux takes a slap shot on goal, one-timer, and then Timmy tried to go between the legs. We know Brady's been trying that for years, but we were that close to seeing Timmy, and Adam Fox finished him off pretty good. But you know what? I kind of get that from the Rangers' point. You never want to have somebody come that close in the house and be able to put puck like that in. So I like that. Good battle. And then second period, they get the first power play. Ottawa's only power play after the Boston game, where they only gave up one. They only get one in this one, and they win the opening faceoff, something that they had struggled to do in recent games. And then boom, you walk me through this one because it's going all downhill. So I got to break down the first one. You can do the second.
All right. Well, it's not very often we get to break down a power play goal on the Postcast, Ross, so I will happily take that opportunity. I really like this play from Drake Batherson because he's in the corner, and I feel like sometimes on the power play, like, obviously being in the corner is not a great place to be, really. Like, you're not giving yourself a good angle at the puck. You're not going to be able to score, so people know you're going to try to pass, but he stays patient. He keeps his head up. He sees Chychrun all the way across the ice. Nice, crisp pass through the slot on the tape for Jacob Chychrun, and he one-times it home. And Ross, that's something that I want to see them getting Chychrun engaged in the power play more. Like, basically on the top power play unit, I want Norris to be that trigger guy on that side. On the second unit, I want Chychrun in that spot, because when you can feed Chychrun with those one-timers, if you get in his wheelhouse, we saw it more when he first came over last season. He's pretty much automatic if you put it in the right spot for him on that power play there. So I want to see that happen more often, and that was a great play by Batherson to set him up nicely.
So Ottawa's up 2-0 at this point in the game. Everyone's feeling good. It's a chippy game. The first period was chippy. We already told you about the first fight. Then in the second, this call-up, Connor Mackey throws a pretty good hit, I thought, on Tim Stützle. Stützle went down. He got back up. And Brady says, no, I'm standing up for my teammate. We know that's in his DNA. That's in his blood. And I wanted to see a bit more of the bromance of, Brady and Timmy, they got put back on the same line for a little while. And I honestly think that we need to discuss whether or not it was the right move for him to fight there, because momentum disappeared after that.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting one, Ross. And as soon as Brady accepted that fight, I was like, who is he fighting here? I wish it was Jacob Trouba center ice like it was a little while ago. That was epic. But this Mackey guy, I don't know much about him. And that clearly was one of those issues where Brady's looking at it as a situation like, okay, Timmy didn't like that hit. Timmy's pissed off. I'm not even going to mess around. I'm just going to let everybody know you don't do that to Timmy. He's our top star player. He's our highest paid guy. If he's frustrated, I'm standing up for him right away. And look, I'm not going to say there's like an obvious kind of tension between Brady and Timmy, but it doesn't seem as comfy and as as high flying as it did in years past. So this might just be one of those moves where Brady's like, hey, here's an opportunity I have to show Timmy I got your back no matter what. We're playing on the same line now. I really want to show him that, I support him. And if he's pissed off at someone, I'll answer the bell for him. So part of me accepts that Brady does that, Ross. But again, and we talked to Keith Tkachuk, Big Walt, about this. How many times can you afford to have Brady Tkachuk scrapping up against scrubs? One of these times he's going to get injured. If you're the New York Rangers, you're like, sweet, Mackey gets 5 minutes here and we're taking off Brady Tkachuk, their captain, one of their top players, their leading goal scorer. He's getting 5 minutes in the box. We'll take that trade off every single day. So that's where it's kind of one of those iffy situations for Brady to get into, but he's Brady Tkachuk. He's liable to do this a few times a season.
Yeah, it just sucks when it takes the momentum out of the game. And
yeah,
I just didn't think that was a hit that was worthy of a fight.
But I think
Timmy didn't even go down. Like, Timmy popped right back up. If he's down, whether it's clean or not, that's a different story.
Yep.
But that's a take a number. Like, deal with it later in the game. You're up 2-0.
No, I agree with you there. That's what I mentioned. I think the way I'm looking at this, and this is just my opinion, is this was Brady being like, all right, I really have a chance to show Timmy I got his back. I'm not going to mess around. I'm not going to hesitate. I'm just going to go for it. Because you could tell Timmy was pissed off about it, right? Like, he went over to Mackey and kind of gave him a couple words there, and Brady didn't waste any time. So that's all I can really explain there. But I agree. I don't like to see an $8 million guy, a captain, the face of the franchise, and Brady Tkachuk go up against Mackey there.
Our friend Claire Hanna posted this comment. We'll hopefully get to the Jacques Martin comments if they are out in time. If not, we'll cover it Monday on Locked On Senators. Tkachuk stepped up for his teammate, so you should see a different response from your teammates. Jacques Martin on Brady Tkachuk's fight. The Rangers scored 3 goals while he was in the box. So he's putting it on the rest of the guys, saying, look, that is how you stand up for your teammates, but then everyone else let them down. But it wasn't even that. Like, yeah, sure, he was in the box for more, but it was when they called Matthew Joseph on embellishment call with Blake Wheeler. They sent both of them off. That's when the 2 goals in 30 seconds happened. That's when the ice opened up, and that's when the Rangers really put this one into a real turning point in this game.
Yeah, and you can look at kind of the compounding effects of both of those things. But that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, if you're Peter Laviolette and you're the New York Rangers, you're like, we got him right where we want him. We're down 2-0, but Brady's in the box now just for the price of, I don't know, what's Mackey? Is he even a defenseman? I don't even know what position he plays, honestly.
He got called up. He got called up this morning because Jacob Trouba was going to get suspended.
Yeah, like this is such a kind of...
he was in the AHL yesterday.
Yeah, this is a guy that's not going to have a major impact on the game. No offense to him, but compared to Brady Tkachuk. So that's one of those kind of where hockey can be a bit of mind games. Like, it's all about those little things that you can do to get yourself an advantage. And the Rangers, they certainly did a much better job of winning those little things rather than the Sens kind of shooting themselves in their own foot and allowing this game to get absolutely out of hand.
Out of hand would be an improvement, because what we saw tonight was a full-on debacle with 7 unanswered goals. 7 unanswered goals for the New York Rangers. Zach Jones gets his first goal of the season. Johnny Brodzinski gets his 2nd goal of the season. Capo Caco gets his 5th. Blake Wheeler gets his 9th. Like, you weren't beat by the best of the New York Rangers, although
Panarin's
Kreider
goal
does
was
score.
an empty netter.
Exactly. That's why I skipped over him. I'm talking about the guys who put it past, well, first, Eunice Corpusalo, and secondly, Matt Sogard, who allowed 2 in a tough situation coming in off the bench. But yeah, I mean, the team, obviously, they're going to rally around that for Brady Tkachuk, but I think he's got to pick his spots a little bit better than that. And I'm curious what people think in the comments. You can always get at us in there. Coming up after the break, we'll try to find a Send Central standout for each of us. And I also want to have the talk. Is it time to give Mad Sogard an extended run of games? Because it really, you're in last place. You're in last place. So that's all coming up next. But first, let me tell you about the Glebe Central Pub. The Glebe Central Pub is what keeps the Postcast moving along. The Postcast is always brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. You can find them at 779 Bank Street. And when you head there, let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. There's great food. There's great people at the Glebe Central Pub. And the drinks are always ice cold. Go check them out on social media. Glebe Central Pub, especially on Instagram. That's where you can find all the great events that are coming and the beer of the day every Monday. Check our weekday. There's different times of days. You can go check that out. Yeah, every day, different beer. Friday, Guinness, sign me up. $8.50 for a pint. And they've also, every Saturday in February, will be having live music. So get on that and make sure you check out their Senator Shuttle to and from the CTC. Gets you a great night, except for what happens on the ice. But the vibes are free at the GCP, so go check them out, 779 Bank Street, and let them know Locked On Senators sent you.
This episode is also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel is the official sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's North America's #1 sportsbook. There's no reason to go anywhere else than the best. So you got to check out FanDuel. I'm a big fan of their app. Easily the best sportsbook app out there. I've tried other ones, and I'm always going back to FanDuel because it's simple, it's secure, it's safe. If I can use it, so can you. You can bet on so many things. Sens hockey, PWHL, basketball, NFL, futures, whatever you want. The spread, player props, over-unders, parlays, and so much more. Right now, our customers in the U.S. can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. It's $150 off $5 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, now is the time. Visit FanDuel.com and get started today. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan. That's Brandon Piller. And the Ottawa Senators allowed 4 goals in 5 minutes and 25 seconds during a second period debacle that extended into the third, where it was just lifeless. The vibe was sucked out of the building. There was absolutely nothing in the second half of this game.
And you could tell on TV, Ross. Like, I'd like to know if people in the chat were at the game. Our good friend Liams Marson was at the game. He was very stoked to be there for what, Ross? The first 15, 20 minutes, and then we didn't hear from him after that. It was not a fun game to be at. So that's one of those where, look, if you're going to lose 7-2 like that, you better hope that's on the road, because that is a tough game to do in front of your home fans on a Saturday night. Yikes.
Very tough. And the Senators' record at home, I saw a stat, they only have 2 home wins in the month of January. Now, at least one was against the Montreal Canadiens, but the Senators at the Canadian Tire Center this season are 10, 12, and 2. And that's after winning the first 3 of the year. So pretty disappointing stuff. Kevin Himena saying the rink was quiet. Everything was just bad about this game. And I'm trying to find some silver linings, some good performances. I'm really struggling here, Pilsy. I just think a lot of guys have to look themselves in the mirror here. That was the Rangers' last game before the break, and it was the second of back-to-back games with travel. They had a loss at home, 5-2 to Vegas. They were struggling. They had their captain suspended before this game. Like, all signs pointed for the Sens to win this game. Yep. And I don't even feel like the Rangers won the game. I honestly feel like the Sens lost it. It was a very discouraging effort to be an Ottawa Senators fan. So I'm not going to do it in lieu of, but I am going to start before we get to our Send Central standouts. The Josh Norris situation is just getting worse and worse. Dash 3 tonight.
Yep.
And Pilsy only played 13 and a half minutes. So he got a bit of the Ridley Gregg effect where it's like, you're not going. Like I was wondering how long it would be till we saw players sit for performance reasons. I think we've just seen it on back-to-back nights. Ridley Gregg played 9 minutes in the last game, and Josh Norris, like I can't be sure, but that feels like a season low for him.
Yeah, it's got to be right around there, Ross. Look, you could have told me Josh Norris didn't play tonight, and I would have believed you. I can't think of any kind of
No
moments
puck
or
touches.
yeah, it wasn't going for him, like you said. And at that point, especially when you're down bad like this, you got to send a message, and that's what Jacques Martin was doing, obviously. And it's been a while since we've been kind of happy or even satisfied with the play of Josh Norris, unfortunately. And as your second line center, a guy making as much as he is in a salary cap world, it's not going to be sustainable if he's not able to find a way to get things going. And that's why, Ross, like when we talked about how's this team going to line up when Shane Pinto comes back into the lineup, I think majority of people, or at least I'll say myself, thought about moving Josh Norris to the wing, trying to have his responsibilities as a centerman cut down, shift him to the wing, have him focus on just getting that puck and snapping it on net, using that one-timer on the power play, doing the things that he did to make him successful. I think maybe it's time you start thinking about at least experimenting with Josh Norris on the wing and getting Ridley Gregg back to the center of the ice, because I think that was a more effective use of Ridley Gregg's time when he was in the middle of Claude Giroux and Brady Tkachuk. Now, I thought that line of Tkachuk, Stützle, and Giroux played pretty well tonight. I mean, when you look at how bad the score was and how limited time they had together since Brady was in the box and stuff, but I don't know. The Josh Norris question is a tough one, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's looming large. And I mean, 7 years, 6 after this one on his deal, making a shade under $8 million. The injuries and everything, and now it's a performance thing. You pay him to score goals, and he's gone 12 straight without one. Our guy Martian keeps saying that he's doing dry January, so hopefully as the month turns, be nice in his home state on Wednesday if he could pop off for a few against Detroit, because right now it's brutal. So Pilsy, like I can barely call it a Send Central standout because this guy was also dash 3 in this game, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to give it to Claude Giroux, 700th assist, and he was one of the Senators that actually looked like they know what they were doing. Now he lost the puck battle at the offensive blue line that also ultimately led to a goal against, but mostly I just want to remind everyone 700 assists is ridiculous. For comparison's sake, I believe, and I'm just going to double check this right now, Daniel Alfredsson finished his career, I believe, with 713 confirmed.
Wow.
So Claude Giroux, 13 away from tying Daniel Alfredsson in career assists, and he's a stud. And hopefully he's a Senator for a long time.
Yep, agreed. That's a fine standout. And yeah, that play you're talking about that happened to turn into a Rangers goal, I looked at that and I was like, oh man, who was that gave it away at the blue line? And then I saw it was Claude, and you know what? I was like, I'm going to give him a free pass on that one. Claude Giroux has been one of the most consistent players. I'm not even that upset about it. It was one of those where he tried to put his stick and skate together to really hold it down, and he just got out muscled. You're going to get beat like that once in a while. It's just unfortunate that it goes in the back of his own net at the end of that play. So I'm fine with that. Look, I don't know how people in the chat feel, but I still feel like this was a good game for Brady Tkachuk. Like, sure, the rest of the game was not great, but he scores that nice goal. Whether you like that he fought or not, I think I'll say it again. The intention was to try to really show Tim Stützle he's safe. He's got his back covered. And if he doesn't like anything out there, Brady will clean up, kind of a big brother move there. Do I think Brady should be doing it all the time? Do I wish it was someone that was not an AHL call-up yesterday? Of course. But I still respect the move. And even Jacques Martin, I think that tweet you showed from Claire Hanna talking about Jacques Martin's quote was dead on. Brady did what he had to do to support a teammate. It's the rest of the team that let him down while he was sitting in the box serving the time for that crime that really let this game get unhinged here. So I'm going to go with Brady Tkachuk as a central standout because his Corsi numbers, his analytics were all really good in this game as well. He gets 4 hits, 3 shots in 14 minutes. That's what you like to see. So, and
I would have liked to see 4 shots. I had him over 3.5, but
damn, yeah. Sorry about that. Then your FanDuel account took a hit there. One more shot would have been nice, but I thought in a 7-2 loss, he had his man.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm surprised you didn't mention Eunice Corpusalo.
You're surprised?
No. Okay.
I have not been a Corpusalo stand. I've wanted to be a Corpusalo stand, and when he plays well, I always make sure to give him his props. But it hasn't been easy for me to support any goaltending, unfortunately, on this Ottawa Senators team this year.
So we have to talk about Eunice Corpusalo. 4 goals against, 4 goals on 4 consecutive shots in the second period.
I hadn't realized that. Yikes.
He finishes this game with only 13 saves, a .765 save percentage. If you're into the expected goals against and whether or not a goalie is exceeding or disappointing, near that, he had minus 2.6 goals against expected. And he is now tied with Vitek Vanacek as the lowest goals saved above expected or below in their case in the National Hockey League this season. This isn't a 1-game problem. This isn't a 1-week problem. This is a season-long problem with Eunice Corpusalo. What do you do with him? Do you sit him on the bench for the next 2 games and beyond? Or do you let him work through whatever the heck this is?
I mean, it's tough, Ross, because you're looking at this and sure, this was a bad, very bad game for Corpusalo. Absolutely. And he's had stinkers like this consistently this season. But his last stretch of games were pretty good here. And you're looking at a team that doesn't have Forsberg. You brought up Mads Søgaard. Look, we love Mads, but it's not like he's kind of forced the Sens' hand and forced them to start him instead of Corpusalo here, unfortunately. Could he do that with a bigger sample size? I believe he could, but he hasn't done that yet. So I don't know if you're in a position to kind of lay the hammer down on Corpusalo here, but at the same time, Ross, you know how I feel about this. The last thing I want is Mads Søgaard getting stunted development because he's backing up a goalie that's playing terrible and he's not getting the playing time that he should get to try to continue his development here. Like, this is what we were worried about, right? Like we said, how about don't bring Mads up? Let him consistently start games in the AHL because it's a dumpster fire up in Ottawa, and have Mando or Levy come up and back up a game or 2 here because Mads has only played 2 games since he's been up. I mean, started 2 games since he's been up. Like, this is a guy that should have started 4 or 5 games in Belleville during that stretch. So,
and Belleville's fallen off big time since he got called up too.
Just like we talked about, that was going to ruin Belleville's mojo as well. And they had a back and forth effort up against the Grand Rapid Griffins tonight where it looked like they could have had a chance, but ultimately I didn't see the final score, but it looked like they didn't get it done.
Correct.
So, yeah, I think at the very least, Ross, you start Mads up against Nashville. I think at the very least. I was looking at the schedule today and I was like, it's like, obviously you want to try to ride Corpy. He's the guy that's getting paid the big bucks and he's your top guy right now. But
can't do it. I'm done with Corpusalo. I am.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, they really should have mixed in a couple more Mads games, even though Corpusalo had been playing well there. Because now I feel like Mads is in kind of a tough spot, right? Like, it's now if you're putting Mads in and now everyone's like, well, we can't trust Corpusalo, so it's all on your shoulders, kid.
Yeah.
And he kind of had to deal with that last season, and there was ups and downs to that experience. And I just don't want to see a situation where you have a goalie of the future, or at least a goalie you've invested a lot of draft capital and a lot of time into in Mads Søgaard, and you let it squander away because you can't figure your stuff out in the crease in the NHL, which is basically what happened to Philip Gustafson, unfortunately. So I just, if the Senators aren't able to draft and develop a goalie to take them somewhere, I don't think they're going to be able to figure it out. There's been multiple trades. You look at Matt Murray, ultimate failure. You have to trade picks and
This is
retain
worse.
salary to get out of it. You look at Cam Talbot.
This
you
is
trade
worse than Matt Murray,
Philip
by the way.
Gustafson 1-for-1, and then you say, okay, the trades aren't working. Let's sign a free agent goalie long term.
Ridiculous.
And it's already falling apart in the first season. And this is why I was, everyone wanted to be excited about Korpisalo. It's a big signing. The Sens needed a goalie. Okay, maybe you got one here, but I was cautiously optimistic about it because Korpisalo was a guy that had never proved that he could do it. Now, we always gave him the asterisks of, well, he played in Columbus. They weren't a good team. Okay, he had a nice little stretch during the regular season with LA, a good team, but then he fell apart during the playoffs. It's just, signing a free agent goalie to a 5-year deal is so damn risky. And Pierre Dorion liked to kind of say, hey, he got the win by getting it down to $4 million AAV, but that's not looking like a win right now. And anytime a team trades for a goalie at the trade deadline and then just lets them walk after, that's an immediate red flag for me. LA needed a goalie so damn badly, and they had a goalie in Korpisalo, and they said, nah, we think it's a smarter move to let him walk for nothing. And then the Ottawa Senators signed him to I was going to say a mega deal. That's not really fair, but a long-term deal. And in year one, it's not looking good here. Now, do I believe that Korpisalo could turn it around? Absolutely. There's lots of time.
I don't. I think he's a bad goalie. I really think that Matt Murray was a better goalie in Ottawa than Korpisalo. He can't make saves on long shots.
You're right on that, yeah.
He's the most deflating goalie in the league.
Yeah.
And even when we signed him, Pillsy, you and I were like, wow, all these acrobatic saves. That's because he's always out of position.
Exactly. Yep.
It's embarrassing how much he gets beat clean. You can't have it in the National Hockey League when you're a winning team. Can't have goals coming in 20 feet away all the time. I wonder if there's a stat out there what the average length away the shot is per goal, because I guarantee you he's first in the league for furthest away.
Well, and it's one thing, Ross, for it to be a point shot through traffic or things like that, but these are clean wristers.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It really, like, I'm trying to like tiptoe around it, but like I'm all the way out on Korpisalo. He's not going to be the guy. No, it's like in football. You either have a quarterback or you don't. Like in hockey, you either have a goalie or you don't. And I'm not like, there's no way he's coming back from this.
But what do you, dude, I get your frustration. I guess I'm just trying to,
they will never win a playoff game with Joonas Korpisalo in goal.
I'm trying to think big picture here. Like, what do you do? You're looking at Korpisalo. You're already out on him. He's got 4 years left at $4 million.
Yeah.
Anton Forsberg, major injury concerns and not looking great either. Is 1 more year on his deal after this. And Mads Søgaard not ready to be a starter in the NHL. Like, what do you do here? Because if this team doesn't figure out goaltending, Timmy, Brady, Sanderson, Claude Giroux, all those guys can have career years and they will get nowhere.
Yeah. No, that's fair. But I think that in terms of this year, you have to see what you have with those two guys, especially Søgaard. Søgaard more than anyone.
Yeah.
He's a year older than he was last, because Korpisalo's not the guy. He's just not the guy, and they're not going to win with him. So he's proven that to me. Look, Korpisalo's had 12 games this year where he's played the whole game, and his save percentage is 900 or better. And the Sens are 9-2-1. That's 900 and better. 900 isn't even that great anymore.
Yeah.
But they're 9-2-1 when he's 900 or better. When he's below 900, you can kiss any chance of winning the game goodbye.
As you should. Any goalie below 900 should not win a game. And that's the thing, Ross. Like, it's not like we're asking the world of our goalies here. Just give us 905. 905 save percentage, and this team's record would be so much better.
Tonight was his 18th game where he had a save percentage below 900, and his only win was against the San Jose Sharks. and the team had to bail him out on that one.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be winning games if your save percentage is under 900. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's. Remember when Dorion's goal was to get a 918 save percentage a couple years ago? That seems
was last
so
year.
crazy now. Was that last year?
Yeah, it was.
Oh my god. 918.
Yeah. To answer your question, like, do you pony up and go get a big name goalie? Like, we hear Nashville's coming to town Monday. There's the talk with UC Saros, where it's like, if they make us an offer, you can't refuse.
But how do you make them an offer you can't refuse while having the money available?
Yeah,
like if you're bringing in a big name, you have to dump the Korpisalo contract, whether it's through a trade or through a buyout.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation and one that will continue on Locked On Senators. Final topic before we sign off for tonight. At intermission, Elliot Friedman says the Senators have shown interest in Chris Tanev. Now, I don't know if this is a right now thing or an in the offseason. He's a pending UFA. We've heard some people speculate that this is one of those where you bring a guy in and then you kind of have the inside track at being able to re-sign him afterwards. But for a 34-year-old like Chris Tanev, like, that guy wants to play playoff hockey. He wants to win the cup. I bet you he would be anything but pleased to come to Ottawa. Like, I feel like he should be going back to Vancouver. He's got a modified no movement clause, and I feel like Ottawa's on his 10-team list. But first thing I did, I went to see if Steve Stais and he had ever played together. They missed each other by 2 or 3 years in Vancouver. So that never happened. But yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it could be a good 1-year deal in the offseason. He plays the right way. He is a pro and all that, but I just don't think he's going to do it. I don't think Chris Tanev would be doing it. Yeah, Kieran's saying he'd be great 2 years ago too, right?
Yeah, that's not the move. No.
Interesting. All right. Well, the Sens need something, and they also need a goalie. So right now, it's you don't have a goalie, you don't have any chance of winning.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, Ross. Like we're asking for above 900 save percentage here.
And we didn't even get above 800 tonight, Pilsy, from Joonas Korpisalo. It was a 7. Sorry, that was Jonathan Quick. I was looking at 935. It must be nice. Korpisalo was 765 in 31 minutes of action tonight. The Ottawa Senators have 31 shots on goal. If you look at it just from a perspective of 5-on-5 shot share, the Senators win that battle as well. Like, they showed a lot of the analytics that were good. The only one that wasn't was goaltending. This was a goalie loss. They allow 7 consecutive goals. Power play only gets 1 opportunity. They convert. That had been a sore subject recently of being able to score on the power play. Now they've scored three of their last 4 power plays. They've been buzzing their last few man advantages. They get out hit 28-24. They have 17 blocks, and New York only had 13 in this game, but that was without their top 2 defensemen when it comes to the defensive side of the puck in Ryan Lindgren and Jacob Trouba, who were both missing from tonight. Trouba with suspension, Lindgren with injury. But the Rangers get 31 shots. The Senators get 29. Sens just couldn't buy a save. Pillsy, any final thoughts on today's postcast?
Just so disappointing. Like, it seemed, Ross, that it was too good to be true. This little 5-game stretch that the Sens went through, where they had a point in each of those games, and
they still lost 2 of them.
Yeah, but those were OT losses up against top contending teams. I'll take those losses. I don't have an issue with that. And you're starting to feel good. You're starting to feel, hey, this team might be frisky here, but we got a big slice of humble pie on this one, and it just dropped right back down to earth and be like, no, you are the Ottawa Senators. You will lose, and you will lose badly. And it's a 7-2 loss to the New York Rangers. So welcome back to earth, Ottawa Senators fans. Unfortunately, this is our team.
I'm in an absolute hater mood right now.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's tough, and
we're not spinning the wheel though. We're not spinning the wheel.
I don't want to spin the wheel tonight. I don't have the
stamina.
No, stamina is not the right word. I don't have the mental fortitude to be spinning the wheel tonight.
And Columbus won, so they're back below them in the standings. Or
Ross,
sorry, they're
maybe
playing Vancouver right now. They won last game. Then they must
I
have.
was gonna say maybe it's a good thing. Maybe we don't try to not be last anymore. Maybe we keep in our warm little niche of last place.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we appreciate everyone for venting with us after tonight's game. 7-2, the final score against the New York Rangers. I'm just looking right here. Kara's asking if we've got Jacques Martin audio. We do not, unfortunately. So you'll have to check that out at Senators on Twitter. They'll post that there when it becomes available. Tomorrow is the Send Skills competition. I wonder if they're just going to use shooter tutors or if they're actually going to let Corpusalo be a part of a skills event right now. I'm hating too much, man, but I'm sure it always is a really good event for the families and everything like that. So that begins at 12:30 tomorrow. All the players will have to put a smile and wipe this
Yeah,
loss
that's a
away.
tough thing to, have little fluff skills competitions after getting beat down 7-2 at home the day before. Ugh.
Pillsy, did you ever get your panic button?
Yeah, I actually did. I've got it upstairs.
Okay, we'll save that for maybe next Thursday because we
That
do have a must-win game next week with what happened with Detroit the last time around. That's a must-win
Yes.
game.
Ross, that game, the panic button came in the morning after they beat the Habs 4-1, and I was like, I don't need this anymore, and I just put it away. Yeah, I'm gonna bust that out. Actually, it's time.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody for joining us after another loss. Let's get some go LOSP goes in the chats. If you want to get some go sends goes in there, we'll allow it. But this was a frustrating night where the Senders, I mean, the players themselves, a lot of them had decent, like okay efforts. I mean, to me, this was a loss on the goaltending, and it really pains me to say that because I feel like we do a good job of being a goalie friendly show, but tonight just was not the goalie's night. So we'll talk to you guys on Monday morning. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan signing off from a 7-2 loss where the Senators had a 2-goal lead in the second period. Yeah, you heard that right.
Yeah.
So enjoy your Sunday. Maybe put hockey down on Sunday. Go watch some football.
Yeah.
And then we'll regroup on Monday.
Make some soup.
And we'll plan out the attack of how they're going to beat Detroit on Wednesday. All right, we're signing off now from the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.